So I made you people on the last show do an intro. Now I'm making people do a new intro. Mm-hmm. And so I'm making the guests do their own interpolation, if you will, of an introduction. And you just go crazy. You can literally be as plain as shit. I just would like to hear it.
I want to do it. Conversations with creatives, curated chaos.
That's so good.
That's what I want to do. Okay.
Oh my God, that's so good.
Conversations with creatives, curated chaos.
Hey!
One more time.
No, okay.
Perfectionism.
That's too good. Okay.
Keep that as the
I have
tape.
to.
Just keep that as the tape. Hi, I'm Wohlf. I use any pronouns. I just vibe here. And I am a singer, songwriter, and a piano technician.
Woo!
Woo!
Hey.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to chit chat today.
We always chit chat.
Yeah, I know. How are you?
I'm good. Busy, but that's everybody.
Because you just moved.
I did just move from Chambly to Chambly, so it was a really long drive.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm excited because it's a new era. It's a new me. 2024 is coming up. So
period.
I'm excited, and it's my own place. Mm-hmm. So I was sharing it with a roommate, which is nothing wrong with roommates, but
right. How many roommates do you have? Do you have just one?
It's just me.
Oh,
girl, it's my apartment.
It is my apartment.
Mine. So I'm excited because I get to, design it however I want and put in
your
my
own person.
Furniture and
Oh
so
my gosh.
I'm excited.
Wait, that is so nice.
Yeah.
You need to tell the people what you do because
they're
going to find out eventually, but I need them to know what you do.
Yeah, of course. I have a spiel that I tell everybody.
Yeah, do it.
It's an easy thing to say, but I'm a piano technician. So that means I build, tune, and fix pianos for the entertainment industry and private clients.
Oh my God.
And so when you think of like a mechanic, let's say for the home or like a plumber, fix toilets and like stuff like that, I fix pianos. That's my full-time gig. Yeah.
And it's the wealthy people that always have them baby grands.
Boy, not even the baby grands. They have
grands.
The concert grands. They have the Steinways, the Yamahas, the Kawais.
And my question is, do they actually utilize it, or they come and have you tune it just to have it tuned?
That's a little bit of tea, but generally the people who actually play it the most are the, quote, like me, common folk who, have
right.
it. You know what I mean?
Can't afford one, whatever.
Who can't afford like a really nice piano, who probably deserve one.
Nice, exactly.
It's those folks that live in multi-million-dollar mansions with a concert grand in the middle of their foyer.
Yes, and they're like, this is a great touch.
They're like, I'm having someone come play for a party, this one party, and then that's it. And I'm like, girl, I would kill somebody for that piano if I could play it every day. And but it's okay.
That's actually
I don't
so
judge because they're my clients.
Have you ever been able to attend an event where the piano is being played?
Yes. I won't name names, but I will name the status, I guess, of the person. So I tuned back when I worked for a company here in Atlanta. I tuned for the wife of one of the higher ups at the Fox Theater. Mm-hmm. And so they had their yearly gala at the end of the year. And so I tuned for it. It was basically in tune already, so there wasn't much I had to do. And I asked what it was for. She told me that there was going to be different artists in Atlanta that were going to come and sing, and they had an accompanist who was going to play with them.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that sounds so fun. I used to be in theater, and I was just like,
geeked out.
Yeah. And so she actually invited me to sing a little ditty. So I actually sang there.
You got to sing?
Yeah, I got to sing there, which was huge, but like nothing came from it, sadly. But it was a great experience, though.
Oh my gosh, that is huge.
Oh yeah.
That's okay. So then, speaking of like what you do and like everything you're interested in, I guess it's important to give the people context of like our relationship and then what you do, and then of course what we're going to talk about today. But I guess first things first, what inspired you this week?
What inspired me this week? That's a great question.
It could be literally anything. If it filled you with like passion, rage, even, that's fine. Like what elicited a strong emotion this week? That's probably the best thing.
Okay, so I gotta be totally honest. I'm a huge nerd. I used to read a lot as a kid. For those who know, the Percy Jackson series came out on Disney Plus.
Okay.
And when I was younger, I used to write short stories and poems and songs for different things that I liked and that I watched. And so I was like, girl, I'm gonna write a song. about Percy Jackson in the next week. And so that, I guess that's it. But
wait, I love that.
It's a really cute show, though.
It is.
Oh, I love it. I mean, the kids are so talented.
I never like grew up reading Percy Jackson, but I never grew up reading. This is gonna shock people because I'm doing a whole show about creativity. I love talking about the entertainment industry. I've never seen a movie in my life. I never saw Hunger Games, Divergent,
Girl, what?
Harry Potter. I've never seen Star Wars. I've never seen any of them shits. Anything you can think of that's like a cult classic situation.
I understand, though.
So
it's
Percy
okay.
Jackson,
it's not for everybody, though.
Right? Like some people can't read.
No, it's okay. I can't now. So it's okay. No, I used to be that annoying bitch in school that would read in the middle class and then get lunch detention and then read at lunch detention.
That's so like stupid. Why were they giving people lunch detention for reading?
Oh, because I was supposed to be paying attention, but I wasn't paying attention. I was reading my books. And then I would steal books from the library. Don't tell Cobb County Schools that I stole books from their system. I still have some on my shelf. Don't tell them.
I won't tell them.
Report me.
No, I'll blank it out and everything.
Thank you so much. But I don't know. Like lunch detention didn't do anything to me because I was reading anyway. And then to put me there in the first place for reading is kind of nuts.
That's so nuts.
It's really nuts. Yeah, my parents were like, "What are you gonna do? Like, what do you want us to do? Tell her not to read?
Right.
Like, that's not gonna work."
That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life.
Very fun. But the show is really cute. So
okay, good,
yeah.
good stuff. I'm trying to think. Like, what
inspired you this week?
Me eye twitching. I feel like by the time you see this episode, this video has already been up and out for Instagram and TikTok and all this stuff. But I inspired myself this week because I went and looked at my calendar. I have a content calendar that I plan out pretty much a month in advance with it's honestly like 2 weeks usually, but this month is planned out and has been planned out. But there's like a video that's supposed to go up today. And I looked and I was like, oh shit, like I have not done anything for this video. Like I've recorded it, have not edited anything. And it was one of those like compilation videos where like I had to edit a video. I had to edit it. And I was like, God, like, but I looked at it and I was like, well, I get to talk about my show because it's a promo clip essentially.
Oh, that's great.
So I was like, okay, like I get to talk about the show. I get to like showcase what I'm doing. And I was like, this will be nice. And I inspired myself because I moved rather fast on that piece.
On point.
I edited it. It is up and ready to go. I have a version for Instagram. I have a version for TikTok. Both of which are in the drafts, like ready to go. Wow. The hashtags are there, like everything. I'm like, I am so proud of me.
Was it just the recording and you did everything today?
It was like it's a video of me like setting up the studio. Cute. And so like I had just took the clips and just cut it up, and I wrote a voiceover. I did the voiceover. I put the clips together and I was like, wow, and then I'm ready to go. I was like, wow.
You're your own inspiration.
I am my own. Today I am.
Okay.
Today I am.
But that is a great thing.
It is.
You know what I mean? To do the shit and then
be
that gal. You know?
Because usually I'm really bad about turning things around really quickly because I'm like constantly tweaking. And even if it's just a TikTok, I'm like, oh, like I need this to be this way. Which leads us to today's conversation. Perfectionism. Is it? I thought of it right on the spot. You like that?
That was perfect.
You like that?
Yeah, I loved it.
Period. Yeah. Today we're talking about perfectionism and like being a perfectionist. And I feel like I've known you for years. I know how talented you are. I also know how much of a perfectionist you are. And I want to chat about it. I felt like you were the perfect person to talk to about it.
I would say I'm a pretty good person for that because as you know, none of my shit is ever ready.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So I mean, like, how long do you think you've been dealing with this?
My life? I don't know. I mean, since I was born, because being a twin, especially, you know, there's constant competition. And so everything needs to be perfect. And so I think that my whole life, like, my grades had to be perfect. Everything, you know, our relationships had to be perfect. We used to be dressed in the same outfit, so we had to look perfect. I mean, like, that's just the vibe of the time.
You feel like... Was it more perfect as in like coordination perfect, or perfect as in like you wanted to be your own person, so you really had to make an effort to stand out amongst your twin?
At first it was the first, and then later on it was the latter. Yeah. And so because, you know, individuality doesn't really start developing until like preteens, maybe late 10, 11 years old. Yeah. Strictly, I mean, from outside perspectives besides your parents, I guess, and the immediate people around you.
Yeah.
And so I think it was middle school where I really started to like try to do the things that were inherently me as good as possible so that people would see that and be like, okay, on her own merit, that's good. But even still, even without that stress, it still happens to me.
Yeah.
Like I still have to get everything perfect. And I think that's just a habit thing now.
Really?
You know, that's how it goes. And my job kind of requires me to do that kind of thing too.
Perfect pitch. Like, perfect.
So, because there's this thing called the circle of refinement that we all talk about in our career. And it basically means do it over and over again, check it over again until it's perfect. And I mean, if you're and if you're in a concert situation, like you're tuning for Lady Gaga or, you know, the orchestra or something like that, those notes have to be perfect because everything else is tuned to the piano. So it's kind of reinforcing that, which is not great. But
circle of refinement. I've never heard of that.
I think it's a piano technician thing. I don't know, but it's something that we talk about a lot in our industry.
Is there ever room for like genuine, like, I guess because the way I look at like perfectionism or being a perfectionist is like, it's a blessing and a curse because 100%. You're constantly trying to better yourself, but then sometimes that betterment can like hinder you from actually taking the first step. At least like I see from somebody who does content specifically, and then it's such a popular field right now.
Right.
Like everybody wants to do content, and you get people that are like, oh, like my house isn't right enough, or like my lighting and like, and my, and I don't have the right, and it's like, it stops you from like taking that step of just posting a damn video.
Right.
And it's like, okay, what do you do? And it's like, I like the idea of a circle of refinement though, because it's like, okay, but you have to do something to create the circle, right? Like you have to start somewhere, and it's a constant cycle of like getting better, but
there has to be an end point.
Really? You think so?
There has to be. I mean, if we're talking about individual tasks, there has to be, because then nothing would ever get done.
That's true.
So that's part of what I had to, ironically, I said it's kind of reinforcing the perfectionist kind of vibe that I've got going on. But it also has taught me when I need to stop, because there are points where I can't take, 3-4 hours to tune a piano. I mean, my limits are about 45 minutes to an hour. So if something isn't perfect, I need to know when to say, okay, this is good enough, and move on. So, there has to be an end point at some point. I mean, life, it's death is when you stop, getting better. But I think that when it comes to content creation or something like tuning a piano or writing music or writing poetry, whatever it may be, there has to be a point where you say, all right, this is good enough. Yeah. And then, you post it and you hope for the best, basically.
Do you ever feel like you have gotten to a place where you're like, this is good enough?
Yes.
Genuinely?
Yeah. It depends. I like the song that I released recently. I keep going back to it because I know there's so many things that I could have done better with it. But at that point, I said, you know what? I'm excited about this project. It's all me. I did all of it. It's good enough. I want people to hear it, so I'm going to put it out, period. And I still listen to it all the time thinking, okay, I could have done this better. I could have boosted the bass a little bit more. I could have, made it a little bit louder altogether. Yeah. But in the end, that stuff doesn't matter as much. I think those are things that I'm noticing because I'm so particular. Yeah. That I think maybe other people wouldn't even think about. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, like, I know like perfectionism is not just like an artistry thing. Like there are people who are genuinely like just perfectionists in all aspects of life. But I'm like, I'm just like more curious. Like, where do you feel like it starts?
You mean like in life or?
Yeah, because I'm trying to sit here and think like, okay, what was my beef? Like, where did I? Where did I start acting like this? Like, I don't know. It could have been how I was raised. It could have been like I don't know. And I'm like, I'm more so curious if somebody's like, I know exactly where I was when I started acting like this.
Well, I think for me, and I'll only speak for me, it's sort of, and I'm getting real personal, but that's okay. This is what this is for. Yes. But I always had with, shout out Gail, Gail being shout out Gail. With Gail being my twin. I mean, Gail's amazing. I mean, what an old soul, so mature, really has a great work ethic, can do basically anything they set their mind to. So,
this is true.
I mean, it's very true.
We love you.
We love you so much. It's growing up, it was like, okay, these are my strong suits and that's their strong suits, but theirs was more, I interpreted at the time, seen as more valuable. So let's say like work ethic or paying attention in class or getting better grades. Those things matter a lot to a young kid whose parents are helicopter parents. Shout out David and Megan. Love you guys. No, we're good now. We're good now. But I love them dearly, and we've come around. We've talked about this, and so it's something that we've figured out. But at the time, I had ADHD, and my papa was quite rude about. To be fair, he didn't know, and neither did I, that I had ADHD.
That's what you were dealing with, yeah.
But he's like, why don't you care? You know, you should care more. Why didn't you do this assignment? Blah, 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 you know, go on. And I didn't really have an answer. And so I think over time, I built a sense of inadequacy. And so I felt as though I had to push harder to prove myself. So I think the perfectionism came from that. Not to mention, like I said earlier, about being a twin, there's a constant, even if people don't intend to, there's a competition between the two because we're the same DNA.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So
yes.
I think it's just how the dice rolled. You know what I mean? And not that it's a bad thing now in my life. I think I've ended up in a good place because of the certain habits I've created, getting to the point where I'm at. But to begin with, I mean, I think perfection. Oh, Jesus.
Right. Is that a word? Perfectionism.
That's my fault. My brain stopped.
I don't even know if that's a word.
It's shorted. I'm sorry about that.
No. It's not even. No, it's not you. It's not you. It's me.
Perfectionism, right? I think that in the beginning, at least for me, it was, what would you call it? A symptom of a bigger issue. So, but now it's used for good purposes. So we're okay.
We're clean.
We're good. But I think that that's where it comes from for me.
That's actually so interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like, I don't know. Cause I was thinking about it. And like I said earlier, like it is such a thief of like beginning, like perfectionism and all that stuff. And we even talked about how like you'll go back. What is it? Like we talked about how being a perfectionist, you know, all that stuff, you tweak these things and you tweak it and it's till it's perfect. And then years later you look back on it and you're like, I don't even know if I resonate with that anymore. Like, I don't even feel like that no more. And that's how I feel about all my poetry. Like for y'all that don't know, I used to write hella poetry and I used to write it specifically about a particular instance that I'm no longer connected to or look at fondly at all in my life.
Right.
And I find it so funny that I felt that way at one point. I'm like, oh my God, like you were up late like tweaking these things and making this word perfect for this one poem that you don't even look at anymore.
Yeah, but at the time it meant something to you, right?
It did at the time.
It's odd that way, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that you can look at it as a sign of growth, you know what I mean? And at the time that was something that was important to you. So of course you're doing the best you can to make that as good as you can make it. But it's interesting, like you mentioned, there's a lot of stuff that I've made that I've looked back on and been like, what the hell is that? And why did I do that?
Like why?
You've been privy to a couple of those.
They're great.
We'd love to see it.
It's great stuff.
Girl. See, but I'm also very hypercritical of the stuff that I do. So I look back on that and I'm like, that was a bad time.
It's horrible.
It was so bad. And I don't think that that's the general consensus, but I have a really bad time judging my own work. I think we talked about that at some point.
Yeah.
So girl, I don't know, like looking back at old poetry or music, it kind of hurts.
I understand. Okay,
you know,
do you want to do something crazy? I just thought about this. Do you have a poem or anything that you are willing to read out loud or share? I know. I will share something as well.
I may.
We can look.
Girl, I know I have hundreds and hundreds of lyrics just in my notes app right now.
I kind of want to do something. This was unplanned. This is literally on spot. Like I kind of want to do something where like we look at it, we share it, and then I want to hear your like loud critique of
Oh,
it.
girl.
Like
Okay.
in person. Yeah.
My own or of
Like
yours?
your own critique of your work, my own critique of my work, and we
Ooh.
chat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Hell yeah.
Okay, I'm curious.
Okay,
At
let me
this,
grab my phone.
let me see what I have to.
Wait, oh, it's in my pocket. Sorry.
Period.
I might have to take some time to find it.
No, take your time, because I
But-
mean that is the point of.
Girl, that is
all
so
this.
funny. That is so funny.
Okay, you go. I found one that's
No,
just.
you go first.
Oh, I found one
This
that's
is your
just
podcast,
awful.
girl.
You're right. I found one that's just
Give me some
awful.
time. Give me some time.
You all will get to laugh. This is so personal.
Oh, girl. I found a really bad one.
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, no. Okay.
Title
I
and
don't
everything.
know if you've ever heard this one.
I don't know.
It's real bad, Kendall. Like,
Let's hear it. Let's
for
see what happens.
context, I wrote this when I was 15 and I was dating someone who I was not particularly happy with.
Well,
at the
all
time.
right.
We'd love to see it.
Okay. Oh my God. 15. Okay. Let's do
I
it.
was 15.
Okay.
I went back for you. Okay.
Oh,
I went
yeah,
all
yeah,
the way
yeah.
back. I need to prepare myself.
Right. Just breathe, because this is about to go on the
Oh.
internet. That's so crazy.
Go-
I know.
forgot. I forgot. Okay, it's okay. We're open here.
We're good.
This is an open dialogue.
This is a safe space.
I don't know.
This is a brave space.
It's a brave space. I'll take it. Okay. Oh my God. Okay.
Here we go.
And I'll read it as if it's beautiful poetry.
Okay. Yeah. Read it like with all of it. I'm closing my eyes. I won't even look at you.
Girl, you're gonna laugh the
Okay.
second I start talking.
Go ahead.
Okay. Oh God.
I know.
Hey there, stupid boy. Do you want me to continue?
You have to go. You have to keep going.
Okay. Oh no.
Man, why
I'll
is it
start
stupid?
over.
Okay. Yeah.
Hey there, stupid boy. Sprinkled in stardust, showered in cotton candy, lust. I was 15. Innocent boy, never quite understood it. Now it's time to stop and sit. Sit for a moment. I added that last part. You must grow to be a man. I know it's hard to understand. It's time to learn life lessons, boy. I promise it's like ABC. It hurts less as you count to 3.
Nice.
Just take these life lessons, boy. You say sticks and stones break my bones, but all they do is leave you all alone. So just still and breathe and just believe. You'll learn your life lessons, boy. You can count on me.
Wow.
Period.
Wow.
Thank you. I was trying to be Melanie Martinez, apparently.
That was you're right. The opening line caught me off guard, but that was honestly,
it was bad.
that was not that bad.
I look at that and I cringe. I'm
15.
shaking.
Yeah, because you're 15.
physically.
I know. I saw it. I literally saw it. I was like, oh shit. Like, but 15. That's pretty good. I feel like now. Okay. I pulled something from probably like I think this was 1920,
Okay.
so not that long ago.
Okay.
And it's still bad. So
I mean, we're being open here, and I'm not going to judge you because I only judge myself the hardest.
that's fair.
So,
Okay. This poem is called A Poem I Wrote in Math Class One Day.
I love that.
Here we go. Formulas and numbers, percentages and probabilities. Could you tell me the likelihood of me getting to know you?
I love it.
Can I assess the qualitative data you possess? Because I count down the minutes till I see you next. And I'm writing this stupid poem in math class, and I just want to figure out how I can get you to notice me. I want to figure you out like a formula. Multiply the times I talk to you by 10, subtract all the awkward small talk, and divide the time it takes to work up the nerve to talk to you by 100. What the fuck? I'm
Pam
sorry.
does.
I'm sorry. This is the fucking...
Pam
I'm not
does.
done. I'm not
Okay.
even done.
Okay.
One day I want to get to... What? One day I want to get you. Scribble your name in my notebook full of problems because I want you to help me find the answer. Me plus you. That is the worst fucking poem. You're right.
We show respect.
That is awful.
I liked it.
That was horrible.
See-
Okay, thoughts. Let's circle back. Thoughts on yours. Like, what were your initial reaction? Where were you when you wrote that?
The choir room, high school, block that out.
Right.
Block that out. At the time, things were a little wonky. We were, I think, a year in at that time, and we were both catastrophic people. I mean, like, I'm not even
Catastrophic is strong.
Did you see us?
If y'all
Did
weren't
you
there,
see us?
no. If you know, you know. If you weren't there, you just weren't there.
You know what Gail said recently about that?
Man,
They said that it was like watching reality TV in high school.
It was.
Yeah. And you know what? That's an accurate assessment, I think. And that made me feel so much better about it.
It's so true, though. It like literally was. You would think there was a camera crew.
No, and in truth, it was. I mean, there was problems on both sides, but it was really no one person's fault.
Yeah.
We were just catastrophic.
You were 15. Yeah, and you were 15.
Who isn't at 15?
Yeah, it's just a nightmare of a situation.
I don't think they ever heard that song. I don't think anyone's ever heard that song, to be honest.
That's fair.
But I was just upset, and I wrote it in the choir room after school one day.
Yeah, it's good.
And I was like, this is heat. This is heat. And
this is heat.
It certainly wasn't. But I mean, at the time, I was really proud of that because it had some really cool chords. It had some descending chords.
Yeah.
And I was like, this shit is heat.
Man, yeah.
And, you know, I'm proud of the fact that I've grown from there.
Yeah.
We'd love to see that. And, you know, the lyrics are a little weak. I was trying to be Melanie Martinez because, you know, they have all of the stuff about, like, I think they even have a song called, like, ABCs and stuff like that. So I was trying to connect it back to things like that, like the ABCs or learning life lessons, sticks and stones, that kind of.
It was, I mean, I like that little line. I like that line about
experience. So did I. That is the one line that I was like, that is heat. It's like, sticks and stones can break my bones, but all they do is leave you all alone. Period. Yes, sir. Like you that's kind of good.
Like you ate.
But the rest of it, though,
questionable.
Cotton candy lost at 15. That's nuts.
I mean, you know, you take the bits and pieces and you grow from it, because I can tell you right now, I don't know where I was or what was going through my head when I wrote that poem, but I wish it wasn't. I wish whatever I was going through wasn't happening for that poem to be born.
I'm so sorry.
More importantly, I went to my poetry book that I at one point considered publishing.
I think I remember you talking about that book.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you're a true stan of me, then you've heard of Kindle's Corner. And I think that there are several episodes in which I was talking about writing poetry at the time. And so this is just offensive to see in my lineup, because it's like,
I didn't think it was that bad, in truth.
You're lying.
I really don't.
I'm
not lying. I mean, you've grown from there, but I'm not saying that it was bad. No. I mean, you and I have the same issue here where we're relating it to things that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and you're
that
like,
was
God.
We did not coordinate that, by the way.
No, very opposite vibes.
But I think, you know, relating it back to math equations and the fact that, you know, you were like, a poem I wrote in math class one day. I mean, like, that's cute. I think it's cute. And I'll stand by that. Me
being the perfectionist that I am is like, why didn't you think of something better? Why didn't you think of anything else?
I mean, I think it may be a tad bit, you know, take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think it may be a bit cliche, but now cliche is actually pretty popular.
That's true.
Like, Olivia Rodrigo is a great example.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't necessarily I don't think it means it's bad. You know what I mean?
Okay, this is fair.
So
this is fair.
But that's just my take.
No, that's fair. And I think I was really trying it with the math puns and
you
shit.
did
it. I was doing my best.
And you did it, though.
Do you have something that you've written recently that would showcase your growth from that very poem that you actually are proud of and you're like, I actually could share this on the internet?
Give me just a sec.
Oh, no, take your time. Take your time.
I'm trying to find... There's a song that I'm working on right now. I would play it, but I don't know how well the mic would come up.
If you put it like right up on the mic, maybe, or you could send it to me and I could put it in the episode.
Let's do that.
Okay.
I'll try and finish it before then.
Nice.
But it's about, for lack of a better word, my relationship with relationships in general. Mm-hmm. So I'm not just talking about like romantic relationships. I'm just talking about my relationships in life in general. So that's friends, family, and how I can't seem to find my footing in them. You know, I have a lot of great friends that are, you know, I talk to every once in a while. You're one of those friends where we talk every once in a while. Hello. We talk every once in a while, but we're not like the types to talk every day.
Yeah.
I feel like at least I think everybody has at least one person they talk to every day, if not multiple people.
Yeah.
I don't have that unless it's in a relationship. So that's kind of about that.
Wow.
And the lyrics, I think, are really well written. I'll read an excerpt.
Read an excerpt, because I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, how can we do the whole song, or do we do a section, or whatever. But yeah, read maybe like your best. Yeah.
So now there's a cadence to this that I can't exactly do in this.
That's okay.
Insecure. What was all of this stupid shit for? To play advocate at the devil's front door.
Period.
Just to prove me wrong.
Sorry.
No remorse for the way you decided we'd end. Just because I was bad at playing pretend when you swore it was real all along. Stay on course. I keep on driving down the same old road, following back into every habit I'm told is some self-destructive bullshit. I know. But it seems so warm here. I like to be needed. Sleeping next to you, my heart is pleading for us to be good. Are we good? And so that's part of it.
That 8.
Thank you.
That 8.
Thank you.
That 8.
I think it's pretty good, all things considered.
What? Can you read that devil advocate line one more time?
Oh, yeah. So, okay.
Yeah.
I'll read that whole stanza.
So, yeah.
Insecure, if I can speak. Insecure, what was all of this stupid shit for? To play advocate at the devil's front door, just to prove me wrong.
Like, are you fucking kidding me?
I'm pretty proud of that line.
That's
too.
so
I don't know where
good.
that came from.
That is so good.
Thank you.
That's writing 101. That's so good. That line oh man, that got me good. I love that shit.
Thank you so much.
You need to let the people know at the end where they can find you so that they know when to stream that song.
That's really sweet. Thank you. I will.
Period. That 8.
Thank you. I've come around to deciding, because before when I was writing the stupid little boy stuff, I was trying to figure out what my style was in regards to writing, not necessarily the actual instrumental behind it, but figuring out the kind of literary devices I wanted to use while I was writing. And so a lot of it now is turning common ideas on its head. So for example, devil's advocate, you know, and things like that. I feel like that's getting better. And that kind of, it's funny because we were talking about things that relate back to common practices, I guess, for lack of a better word, like math or, you know, like the ABCs or something like that. But Achilles' heel is that way too, because it's all just mythology too. But that kind of, in lyric, it hits. I think. So I don't know.
I always can admire people that are able to pull like references into art, because inherently, and I've heard people talk about it specifically with comedy, right? Comedy, you have to be intelligent to do comedy. I also think you have to be intelligent to write. Like, you really do, because it's like there are so many literary devices at play, but more importantly, like being able to reference things. Like, I admire rappers that are able to like just double entendres. I
love double entendres.
Like, it's so like so layered in like meaning, and it's like, like, you know what that meant, and that's why I think it hits you so hard, because that I've never heard somebody kind of take it that way, but you know what that means. And it's very obvious. Anyway, I love that. That makes me feel good.
I will send you the song, snippet that I have currently, because it's not done. As of today, it's not done. But, and I'm thankful, because this is one that I didn't have to produce. Thank Christ.
Thank God, yeah.
Because I'm not good at it. If you find the song, once I say my name later on, that I released on my own, it's not amazing.
Yeah.
But I have a guy that I work with, Jax, who... can I plug him?
Yeah.
Word. Okay. Hi, Jax. His name in most platforms is Atlas in Motion, and he's done work with like 88 Rising and Break-Ins.
Nice.
Those kind of folk. And so he and I have been working together. This is the guy that did Clone with me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've been working with him since I was 13, and we went to middle school together. God bless him. And he'll do some of the producing for me, like Achilles' heel, that version you heard.
Yeah.
He did that. And he does a lot of my backing vocals for my projects.
Period.
So, he's a king. We love to see it.
8 down.
He's just good on his own merit. But yeah, so the writing stuff is
improved. It's gotten so special.
Thank you.
I think that's so great.
We got to hear something from you recently.
So
if you don't
No. I'm trying to think of like, because I don't write as much, and we're on this writing train. I feel like that's important. So I'm going to stay with the writing train. I'm going to bring up something that I know I'm proud of, but I have not.
As you should.
It's years old, but I know that I still love it.
I have a quick question for you before you start. Do you have first, second, third drafts of your poems, or do you just kind of go for it?
Okay, so with this poem actually I wrote in a poetry class.
Really?
So I do have the first draft of this poem somewhere. I would need to like go search for it, and then this. So the what's funny about this poetry class, and I swear this was the best class I took my whole time at KSU. She was so amazing. I was not an English major. This was my first like serious like out of my curriculum class that I had done, because I was a theater major. Y'all should know that. But I took this class without having any understanding of poetry and how it worked at all. And she gave some of the best advice. Number one, the point of poetry is to make the person feel something. Yeah. If you couldn't make them feel something, like, you failed, essentially. Fail is strong, but that's my words. But her point was like, make them feel something, which I have resonated with since I heard it. And then, because my always thing with poetry was like, I never really loved it because it felt so not elitist, but it was like such a hard barrier to like it was such a hard barrier to entry, like especially with Shakespeare. I never liked Shakespeare because of like I never loved it because I was like, this is so hard to understand.
It's elitist.
It felt elitist to me, right? But like it's not. It just whatever. So that was my qualm with poetry, but for her to say that to me really made me feel like I could do that, that anybody could, because it's like, okay, yeah, all you gotta do is make somebody feel something, like, and there are ways you do it. And then she talked a lot about like trying to take certain emotion out of it and making it, you'll see in the poem. I can't, but the way the class would work is that she would give some sort of prompt for the week, and you go off and you write your poem and you come to class with your poem. And we did this on Zoom. So I can imagine in person this was probably really rough. But in Zoom, you had to have your camera on. Everybody had to have the camera on. You had to have your camera on.
As you should, honestly.
And everybody had to mute themselves. And by one, you get up, you read your poem to the whole class, and then you mute yourself. And you're not allowed to clarify. You're not allowed to justify. You're not allowed to explain anything. Ooh. Everybody has to critique your poem.
That is harsh.
It was. Dang. So it sounded like it was going to be a fucked up situation. It really wasn't. Okay. Everyone was really like nice, but the critiques were critiques. The critiques snapped. This critiques helped me. And then there were some people that I genuinely were like, either A, they couldn't write, and I was like, I don't value anything you have to say to me, so I can learn to just whatever. And it was like a genuine practice of like, I do not give a fuck about what that person has to say. That's which great. I think helps you a lot anyway. But then there were critiques that were so like, I never would have thought of that. That is huge coming from you, especially my professor. My professor was so good. So anyway, I will read this. This was my final draft in my my thing. And she said this was one of the best poems that she had ever heard. Aww. Which I was like, she was like, this was my best poem of the semester. This was my best poem. And this is easily one of the best things I've ever written in my life. And it had to do with my dad, obviously. The poem's called May 31st. Every other day feels like today, even 7 years later, when pictures are the only semblance of memory, and I need to recall which one of your front teeth enclosed on the other. Today is overcast. Rain has washed all evidence of hopscotch and patty cake. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Today I tell myself to light a candle, but the smell of pine reminds me of the officer's perfume. Today I tried to forget, so I close my eyes and imagine if weekends on 180 Jackson Street would still include pancakes at 8 p.m. Obviously, I wrote that about my dad's passing. Yeah, obviously, yeah. So,
jeez,
right?
No, that's really good.
Thank you.
No, seriously.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
And
I know a little bit.
Yeah.
We've never really talked. I've never asked. There's a reason for that.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No. I just don't think it's my place, to ask about that.
It is what it is. But this is also funny because it's like this podcast is so like embedded in his memory. So I'm like also opening to like actually talking about my dad like more in these settings, because I never really did. But yeah.
No, that's really beautiful. Not
Thank
only
you.
the poem, but the sentiment as well.
Thank
I think.
you.
I know a little bit about him because your mom talked about him.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah. Back in high school. Believe it or not.
Yeah.
But I love the use of visualization in that poem. Genuinely.
Thank you.
Because I think it makes, especially when you're talking about something so personal, it really puts you literally in the shoes of the person who's writing it.
Yeah.
Because you give it by using concrete objects and concrete dates and events, you can get a very specific feeling out of those things, even though they're not inherently characteristic of a feeling, but you know where they're coming from.
Yeah.
So I think that I've always loved that kind of writing. So that I don't know. I just find it very pretty.
I thank you.
And kind of melancholic, almost bittersweet.
Very, very melancholic. And I think what I loved is I remember in the first draft, there's a line where I say, like, I can't remember what tooth enclosed on the other.
I love that line.
The first run of that line was something about I can't remember which tooth cuddled the other. And I remember the critique that my professor gave me was like, cuddled felt very specific. She wanted something more neutral. And there was something about the poem. She loved the first run, obviously, but she was like, one of the critiques was like, there was something about this that like you wanted it to feel a little bit more neutral. And the example she used, there's a line in there about the office, the pine, something about pine reminded me of the officer's perfume. And she was like, that line like really just like hits you because you're like, geez, like you're kind of painting this picture without really painting the picture and like using like senses to like make that make sense. All I'd say, that was the best class of my life. Clearly, like I wish I could take it every year because I think I would grow so much as a writer had I had that. Shout out to her.
What a queen.
Shout out to her. She was amazing. I should email her. But anyway.
Email her after this.
I should email her. No,
just
for real.
Like, hey, girl.
I should send her this episode too.
Yeah.
I should. Love her.
You just sang her praises. Of course you should.
I have to.
If you want.
Yes, I have to. But yeah, that's my that's my tea. Wow, guys, that was really intimate. But that's the point of this podcast.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more behind the scenesy.
I like it a lot. I mean, I don't know. Do you mind if I touch on something you said?
Yeah, go for it.
Something about juxtaposition I really like about poetry because you're talking about something very personal. And you know, like I'm going to assume that most people knew to an extent where this was coming from. And if they didn't, they got a vibe from where it was coming from. And when you do something neutral like that, it's like you're stating a fact. Like, this is what happened. This is what happened. I feel however I feel about that. But you're not adding like, it's almost like you're stating the way things are, you know, about something that is very hard to deal with. Yeah. You know, and I've always loved that about art because, you know, you can do that with pretty much anything. In music and in writing that way too. I mean, lyrics are basically poetry to music. Yeah, absolutely. So I've always liked when that happens. And I just thought you did it very well. That line about his teeth enclosed upon the other, I think, I don't know, especially in the line about the pine of the office. Is that what it was?
The pine of the officer.
I don't know.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Of course. Yeah, no. And I don't blow smoke either.
I know you don't. That's why I'm sitting here. I'm like, fuck yes. Like, fuck yeah. I'm like, I'm really geeking and I'm trying to be composed. But yeah, period. Well, what is as we like begin to wrap this up, like, what do you think are the biggest like takeaways you've gotten from like perfectionism, whether it is like the best piece of advice or like something you heard that just resonated really well, something you take with you when it pertains to like perfecting your work?
Knowing your limits. Knowing your limits. And if you don't like where your limit is, continue to work. Because the end all be all is a lot of folks will be perfectionists at things that they start doing for the first time. That means that you're spending a lot of time in a frustrated state that isn't necessarily conducive of good work. You know, like I'm going to speak on my own. When I first started tuning pianos, because that's an easy anecdote for me to go to, but it took the first one for me to do 6 hours to do.
Wow.
It took me 6 hours. And that's because I wanted everything to be perfect. I wanted every note to be completely clean and free of any, waves or anything like that, which is basically when a key goes like, wah, wah, wah. Right. But I was working so hard to get it clean that I was wasting so much time, because the difference between the 1.5 hour mark versus the 6 hour mark really wasn't that big of a difference. You know what I'm saying? So knowing when to stop your circle of refinement, I guess you could say, in anything that you do is important, depending on your journey down that path. The farther you go down, ironically, the more time I think that you can spend on doing it, because you know more about your craft, you know more about what you're doing. You kind of move through it a little bit easier. Yeah. Versus when you're picking up something for the first time and you don't really know your ways about it yet. Yeah. It's almost like when you're working out, a lot of people say that it's better to do large weights and less reps than smaller weights and more reps, because you want to be able to tire your muscles out quickly. But then it's not necessary to do more than a certain amount of reps after that, because you've already done most of the work. So even if you continue doing it, it's really not making much progress. Yeah. So it's the same concept, I think. At least that's what I take from it.
That's great. And I'm going to literally remember your 6 hour story for the rest of my life. I think that is like, because it's no different from the 1.5 hour mark to the 6 hour mark. That is tea. Yeah. Wow.
Because it's good to nitpick. But if you're nitpicking forever, it's, I mean, what's the point?
What's the point?
Because you're going to be the one that knows the difference, but no one else around you is going to know.
No one knows.
No one else. And at that point, you could have been spending that time perfecting something else.
Absolutely.
And I think that that is my biggest issue, and that's what I'm currently working on. Yeah. So that's my takeaway. Yeah. That doesn't necessarily mean you shouldn't work hard towards getting the best possible
you can do.
Outcome. But at some point, that 0.0005% better you get from doing it an extra however long isn't really worth it.
That's really good.
Yeah.
That's really good. I think like on the similar front, like my or what I've gathered, I'm a results driven person, like through and through. And so I always think about the time I waste in my head, pretty much being like, like I wish I started 2 years ago because I would be better now. If you just start today, you will be better eventually. Yeah. Like you have to put in that time. Like you have to put in that time to get better. Right. So that you can then later actually afford the nitpicking that you're going to eventually do. You know what I mean? It's like, it's like, there's no use in like, you can't sit there and micromanage and try to perfect something you haven't done.
No.
That's what it is.
That's a waste of time.
That's what it is.
Not to be harsh. That is a waste of time,
it is a waste of time. It's like, and I always compare creation to going to the gym. Like it is literally building a muscle. Like at the end of the day, that is what it is. And it's like, you'll get better, you'll get stronger, you'll get faster, you'll get more efficient, all that shit. It's like, but if you sit there and you're like, oh, like I should have started playing piano 3 years ago and then I'd actually be able to do this. It's like, well, you should have. Yeah, you should have. What stopped? Well, now what?
Why not start now?
Yeah, literally. Yeah. It's like, what? Now what? I should have done this. Yeah, you should have. And now what?
And I think that's a hard thing to like bypass too, though.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of what ifs, girl.
Yeah.
All the time. I mean, my life is a what if, bro.
Like, literally.
I mean, no, because twins is like a juxtapose. Like Gail's going down one path, I'm going down another. So that's literally a what if I did that.
Whoa, that's actually so sick and crazy that you said that.
Yeah.
It is a what if. It's like a choose your own adventure vibe. That's funny.
100%.
That's great.
It's like, I love it. I think it's an interesting concept. I gotta write about that someday.
Period.
Possibly. But doing those what ifs is kind of I think a waste of time. A waste of time. Because if, God, I could have started studying astrophysics when I was 5. And now I could be a world-renowned astrophysicist. Yeah. I don't know shit about astrophysics. But that doesn't do anything different for my life. You know what I mean? Like I could have been. Don't get me wrong. That would have been cool, I guess. But, you're here.
Yeah, right.
You're here right now. You've done what you did to get to where you're at.
Now do something.
Now do something if you want to get somewhere else.
Literally.
That's it.
It could be so simple.
And I'm screaming at myself here, okay?
No, I'm screaming at y'all. I'm screaming at you guys. Because I feel like I finally mastered that mindset. I still get it sometimes.
Good for you.
I still get it sometimes. Okay. But like I've mastered the overall, like, okay, you got it. Like the what ifs. Yeah, we're done. I give myself 10 minutes. We're done. We are done.
We mourn for a set amount of time and then
we go. We have to keep going.
Then we got to keep moving.
It's the life of a creative.
So perfectionism. Perfectionism. Perfection.
Confectionism. Confection oven.
Confectionery. I love my confection.
Convection oven.
Oh.
It sounds like you had a story.
Convection oven.
Oh.
No.
Oh my God.
But no, perfectionism, right?
Yeah, literally. Right.
Look at how long it took me to perfect that when I could have just moved on.
Exactly. You know what? And because you said it, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
It was like, that was really good. Where can the people find you?
Wohlf, WOHLF.E at Instagram and Twitter. And if you want to see my music, there's one thing out for you right now. You're welcome. Yeah. Wohlf, WOHLF on Spotify.
Period.
And you can listen to Let You Know. It's on there already. I think I released it in October.
Nice.
And then I'll be releasing more as time goes on, but I do have that perfectionist bug. So a lot of my projects are just kind of sitting right now.
Just delayed. And that's okay. Delayed.
It's okay.
Not, yeah.
But because of this, I'm going to finish them.
Period.
As soon as possible. So
everything will be linked below. Guys, thank you for watching. If you like this episode, make sure you give it a thumbs up on YouTube and 5 stars on Apple, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, Apple, Spotify, all that. Yeah, you know the vibes. Leave a review, please. We read them. I do want to start reading reviews again.
That'd be cute.
At the end of every episode, so we need you guys to
please
with the reviews. And what else? I feel like that's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
End.
Thanks for recording.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.